Well, are people in Los Angeles in danger because of cuts to the fire department? This is going to be the topic of a meeting here in downtown Los Angeles. We'll tell you all about it coming up in a few minutes.
The Los Angeles Fire Commission meets today, and members are expected to talk about the department's response time statistics as well as equipment issues. KTLA's Christina Pascucci is live in downtown LA where this morning's meeting will happen. Good morning to you, Christina.
Good morning to you, Chris. Yeah, and that's going to be whether people in Los Angeles are in danger because of all of these staff and budget cuts to the fire department will be one of many topics discussed and on the agenda for the board meeting today for the Fire Commission. And this has been pretty controversial. Basically, the LA City Council, they made deep cuts to the fire department last year because of fire department numbers that were given by officials. City leaders say they only voted to make those cuts based on numbers they received from fire officials, which indicated rescuers respond to emergency calls within 5 minutes 80% of the time. But then earlier this month, officials stated that it's actually about 60% of the time that they make it to the calls within 5 minutes.
They tell me that they're being run ragged, that there aren't enough resources, that they're more at danger, that it's heartbreaking when you show up 20 minutes into a call and someone's lost 4 fingers and they say, "Where were you guys?"
When you call us, we're there, we're ready to respond, we're going to come, and we're going to fix the problem.
The LA Times reports for years fire officials, they've kind of fudged the numbers, saying they respond more quickly than they actually do to emergency calls. Now city leaders are calling for an internal audit to figure out why exactly, what exactly is happening with these numbers, why there's such the disconnect. And this is significant because oftentimes just 1 minute will make the difference between life and death. That's what fire officials say all the time. So we're going to stay on top of this for you and bring you the latest from the meeting. It's going to happen this morning at 9 o'clock. We'll also have more information for this for you in the next hour. Reporting live in downtown Los Angeles, Christina Pascucci, KTLA 5 News.
This morning, the Los Angeles Fire Commission meets this morning, and members are expected to talk about the department's response time statistics as well as equipment issues.
KTLA's Christina Pascucci is live in downtown LA where this morning's meeting will take place. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris and Megan. Yes, in just a couple hours, fire officials and city leaders will convene here at City Hall. 2 big topics to discuss: equipment failures within the fire department and also response time. Now, some city leaders, they're saying last year they voted to cut the fire department's budget because fire officials were misleading about response time. Fire officials, they claim they responded to about 80% of their emergencies within 5 minutes. Then earlier this month, they said, no, in reality, it's only about 60% of emergencies within 5 minutes. So now city leaders are saying they want an internal audit. They want to figure out why there was this glaring discrepancy. And when you cut funds for the fire department, you have less staff, of course. The response time, which is absolutely crucial, is affected. And the LA Times, they've been bringing to light all these different scenarios of how people have waited an exorbitant amount of time. In one case, just recently, 45 minutes when a woman waited while her finger, it was actually cut off. And doctors were saying, because of how long it took for fire crews to respond, she ended up losing her finger. Other life or death situations have been brought to light as well. So we're going to stay on top of this and bring you more as the hours go on this morning. Then, of course, at your 1 o'clock news on KTLA, will tell you what the outcome of this meeting was. For now, reporting live in downtown Los Angeles, Christina Pascucci, KTLA 5 News. I'll throw it back to you guys.
All right, Christina.
This morning, the fire chief is on the hot seat as city leaders demand answers. Why did they not know about problems with the dispatch system or delayed response times? And Christina Pascucci in downtown LA will have that report for you coming up.
Firefighters with the Los Angeles Fire Department say they're plagued with problems involving equipment and a dispatch system that's causing delays in response times. KTLA's Christina Pascucci in downtown LA where the Fire Commission is meeting to discuss this. Christina, good morning.
Good morning to you guys. Yes, in just a couple hours, around 9 o'clock, the Board of Fire Commissioners and city leaders, they will convene here to discuss 2 main topics. First, equipment failures within the fire department, and secondly, those delayed response times. And joining me now to discuss this all is the fire chief himself, Mr. Brian Cummings. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Christina. How are you this morning?
Great. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. First, just tell us what you expect to be discussed this morning at the meeting.
The Fire Commission is the head of the fire department, so this morning we're going to have an open and transparent discussion regarding some of the difficulties we had with our Metro Fire Communications Dispatch Center, and we're going to discuss the dispatch times, the response times.
Okay, now one of the big things that was brought up was the discrepancy with the response time numbers. First, they said they respond to 80% of calls within 5 minutes, and it was 60%. What was at the core of that discrepancy?
We're going to outline exactly what was at the core of it, and it was two different ways that we measured it. An old method that we used prior to 2009, and then the method we used for the deployment plan, which was a more stringent standard. The fire chief at the time decided that we were going to align our response time goals with the NFPA standard, which is a more stringent standard.
Okay, and when those numbers were first given out that you respond to 80% of calls within 5 minutes, then city leaders decided, they said they voted to cut the budget for the fire department, and that's really affected you.
That 80% number was from 2008, some paperwork that was published in 2008. We never used that number at any time when we were presenting the deployment plan.
Okay, so when city leaders say that they voted to cut the budget, based on those numbers, though, what do you say to them? Are you saying that's not accurate?
The numbers that were in the report that we actually submitted to the mayor, the fire commission, and the city council were not that 80% number. We presented the actual modeling numbers from the deployment. And our actual data, now that we've been in the deployment since July 5th, and we can see the actual numbers, they mirror it. We mirror the 2% drop that we thought we'd see in the modeling.
All right, another thing that was at the core of all this, the city leaders saying why didn't they know about the dispatch problems sooner than at the press conference last week?
We notified, as soon as we started having a problem with our dispatch center, we notified both the fire commission, and we reached out to city government as well. It's a standard policy of my department to keep city government informed, make sure that we're transparent with everything we do, and to keep the public informed, because we're here to provide public safety, and we want to reassure the public that we're here for them when they need us.
Exactly, and those response times a big factor in providing public safety. We appreciate your time so much. We'll hear more at this meeting today at 9 o'clock, and we'll bring it to you on your KTLA News. For now, back to you in studio.
That's Christina Pascucci.
The Los Angeles fire chief is on the hot seat this morning as his bosses demand answers on delayed response times. Well, you hear the chief respond right here on your KTLA News. First, we'll have that for you coming up in a few minutes.
The LA Fire Commission meets today. Members are expected to talk about the department's response time statistics as well as concerns over equipment.
KTLA's Christina Pascucci is downtown LA where the morning's meeting is taking place. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, guys. Are the people of Los Angeles in danger because of the budget cuts to the fire department? That will be at the issue, or the core issue, at today's meeting, just about to get underway as we speak. We're going to bring you details as it's happening in City Hall. But Fire Chief Brian Cummings, he's expected to be on the hot seat this morning as fire commissioners, his bosses, and city leaders demand answers from him. Two main things here. First, delayed response times, and then also problems they've been seeing with the dispatch system. Also at the core of this, Chief Cummings, he's accused of giving misleading numbers to city leaders surrounding response times. Leaders say they ultimately resulted in budget cuts. But Chief Cummings, he says that's absolutely not the case. It's just the formula for evaluating these numbers which has changed. Chief Cummings responded first to KTLA News earlier this morning. That meeting is underway. Any minute now, we will bring you the latest. Also coming up around 9 o'clock, we're going to break down some issues surrounding the dispatch system and how the problems with that have been affecting the fire department and also you at home should you have an emergency. Reporting live in downtown Los Angeles, Christina Pascucci, KTLA 5 News.
All right, thanks.
I'm Christina Pascucci live in downtown Los Angeles, and as we speak, the Los Angeles fire chief responding to allegations from some LA City Council members of delayed response times and a failed dispatch system. Well, the very latest for you coming up in just a few minutes.
Firefighters with the Los Angeles Fire Department say they have their hands full with problems involving equipment and a dispatch system that's causing delays in response times. KTLA's Christina Pascucci is in downtown LA where the Fire Commission is meeting to discuss those issues. Christina, good morning.
Good morning to you. And yes, as we speak, Los Angeles Fire Chief Brian Cummings, he's meeting with commissioners, his bosses, to discuss two main issues here at City Hall. One of those issues, a failed dispatch system, another delayed response times. Of course, a minute makes a difference between life and death in some cases. And some LA City Council members, they say the fire chief misled them to believe the fire department was responding much more quickly than they actually were. The chief had said that they respond within 5 minutes about 80% of the time, and then last month, or earlier this month rather, then said 60% of the time they respond within 5 minutes. City officials said this led to budget cuts that further delayed response times, but the chief says in today's meeting the numbers will speak for themselves, and he says his biggest concern is for public safety. And that's really what he wants to hit home today. Another big problem has been the dispatching system. LA Times reports because of old and failed technology, some people have called 911 and either, had to wait for about 45 minutes to get a response or not had a response at all. The chief is saying a case like that is extremely rare, though, and he'll be responding more to these allegations at the meeting today, which is happening as we speak. We're going to head up there, find out more of what's going on, and then bring you the latest on your KTLA News at 1 o'clock. Reporting live in downtown Los Angeles, I'm Christina Pascucci, KTLA 5 News. I'll throw it back to you guys.
All right, Christina, thanks.